2 hours. That's how long this game has to impress me enough to keep playing. Otherwise, it gets refunded through Steam's 2-hour refund policy. So, let's see if it has what it takes to pass the test. This is the Steam Refund Review. Risk of Rain 2 is a third-person shooter action roguelike game. It's obviously the second in the series, though I don't think playing the first one is necessary to enjoy this one, but I wouldn't know because I haven't played Risk of Rain 1. The Steam description for the game reads, "Escape a chaotic alien planet by fighting through hordes of frenzied monsters, with your friends or on your own. Combine loot in surprising ways and master each character until you become the havoc you feared upon your first crash landing." Sounds pretty cool to me. You know, what's funny is before I built my first PC about a year ago, I really never even knew what a roguelike game was, and since then, I've probably played a good 15 of them, and I've learned that I really enjoy the genre. I love that just one more run feeling that roguelikes provide, and if done right, this feeling can suck you in and seemingly be an endless loop that will keep you playing for hours. Anyway, Risk of Rain 2 is a very popular game that was initially released in early access as a PC game, but has since been ported over to consoles as well. On Steam, the game has a 93% very positive rating out of 208,000 reviews. So let's jump in and see if those reviews are warranted. Alright, so there's some sort of cutscene in the beginning with a spaceship that made no sense to me whatsoever. However, as far as I know, this game isn't really about the story, nor do I think that it really even has one, but I could be wrong. You get right into the character select menu and get to choose from a few different characters, with many others seemingly being locked for now. After you choose your character, the gameplay starts. I enjoy when games throw you straight into the gameplay without any lengthy cinematics or tutorials. I have a feeling that the devs for Risk of Rain thought to themselves, gamers surely know what third-person shooters are and what roguelikes are, so there's really no point in a tutorial. Initially, I could already tell the game was going to be addicting with its upgrade system, different playstyles based on which character you pick, the hordes of enemies, but does addicting mean fun? Let's find out. So the gameplay is seemingly really the meat and potatoes of this game. It's simple but extremely effective. As a roguelike, you start fresh every run without any upgrades at the lowest level and without any extra equipment. And this does seem to be a true roguelike as opposed to a roguelite, because as far as I can tell, in the first 2 hours, there's no long-term progression in the game. The game has different environments, or essentially biomes, that you seem to randomly spawn in each round, and each different area has different types of monsters. The monsters are few in number initially, but as time passes will ramp up in both number and difficulty. In each area, the goal is to find the teleporter that you'll activate to be able to travel to the next area. When you try to activate said teleporter, however, a boss will spawn to defend the teleporter, and it cannot be fully activated until the boss is defeated. And that's essentially the whole loop as far as I can tell. There's some more bits and pieces thrown in there, such as upgrades and such, that you'll accumulate along the way. The upgrades will provide you with benefits as simple as increasing your movement speed and as complex as causing bleed damage on each hit. I'm sure there are much cooler upgrades further into the game, but my favorite within these first 2 hours of gameplay were the ones that caused the enemy to bleed and had a chance to fire missiles when you hit an enemy. And that pretty much wraps up the basics of gameplay, but what motivates you to keep playing? Update, it's not the story. I really don't think this game has the definitive story as far as I can tell in these first 2 hours of gameplay, but I could be wrong. The gameplay is really where this game seems to shine, and in my opinion, seems good enough to keep the player going without a story. The graphics are decent. It has a very specific art style to it that I'd have a hard time trying to describe, but it almost appears cel-shaded and reminds me of almost a mix between Borderlands and Lethal Company, maybe? That's the best way that I can think of to describe it. It doesn't look bad by any means, but it's nothing mind-blowing. I will say though that it's nice if your gaming rig is a little less on the powerful side, as this game could probably look good on even a potato. And finally, the sound design was pretty darn good. The soundtrack sounds great, and the sound effects are satisfying when firing weapons and such. The soundtrack didn't impress me as much as something like Terraria's, but that one's hard to beat. It was still great. Alright, so after 2 hours, I can say that I'm thoroughly enjoying this one, though not to its full potential, I think. What I mean is, this game really seems to shine as a multiplayer game, and I played solo for this review. I have a feeling that I'd like it even more if I played with a friend. I enjoyed the gameplay loop a lot, and it makes me curious to know just how overpowered you can get your characters to be in one playthrough. The game is priced at $25 when not on sale, but I've seen it on sale for really good prices in the past, such as when I took the screenshot. I think its full price of $25 is fair with how much enjoyment one can get out of this one, and when it's on sale, it's a steal in my opinion. So what would I give this game on a scale of 1 to 10 based on my first 2 hours of gameplay? This one easily gets an 8 out of 10, though like I said, it's probably more enjoyable with friends, and could potentially be higher if I was to try this game co-op. So will I replay this one in the future, or am I going to refund it? This game has kept me captivated with its addicting gameplay and definitely earns a replay it verdict in my opinion. I never got bored and definitely wanted to start another run as my timer was coming to an end, which is always a good sign. So what do you think? Is this game worth it in your opinion? Was this review fair? Let me know down in the comments, and I hope you'll subscribe if you enjoyed this video. See y'all later.